panelists would be Dr. Rishikesh T. Krishnan, Director, Indian Institute of Management, Bengaluru; Professor Raj Singh, Vice-Chancellor, Jain University; Professor Nitin Karmalkar, former VC, Savitribai, Phule, Pune University; and there will be intervention by Professor S.P. Bansal, who is Vice-Chancellor, Central University of Himachal Pradesh.
Thank you, Prof. Shankar Pandit for nice introduction. Respected Honorable Union Minister of the State for Education, Subhash Sarkarji, respected Chairman UGC, Chairman AICTE, my fellow panelists, distinguished Vice-Chancellors, Directors of the Institutes, academicians, ladies and gentlemen. It is an honor and privilege for me to chair this first technical session on multidisciplinary and holistic education. I would like to express my gratitude to Ministry of Education and UGC for providing me this opportunity. This holy city is situated on the trident of Lord Shiva, and this holy city is also known as the capital of knowledge, capital of wisdom, capital of spirituality, and capital of Sanatan Sanskriti. And this holy city is the Karma Bhumi of the great and illustrious son of Mother India, Mahamana Pandit Madan Mohan Malviya, who always advocated that holistic education should be the core philosophy of education. So, after a long wait since independence, now we have got the National Education Policy 2020, which is in a true sense India-centric, which focuses on creating Indian youth who are holistically developed, means all-round developed, physically, emotionally, socially, mentally, intellectually. And further, this policy focuses that all higher education institutions have to become multidisciplinary so that a student from any particular discipline can opt for across other disciplines from the basket of the courses. So according to NEP, multidisciplinary and holistic education is need of the hour. So to produce all-round developed individuals who are rooted in Indian culture but with global outlook. So with this, we are moving forward, and to deliberate on these aspects, we have learned panelists. We have Professor Rishikesh Krishnan, Director, Indian Institute of Management, Bangalore. We have with us Professor Raj Singh Ji, Vice-Chancellor, Jain University, Bangalore. We have Professor Nitin Karmalkar, former Vice-Chancellor, Savitribai, Phule University, Pune. We have Professor S.P. Bansal Ji, Honorable Vice-Chancellor, Centric, Himachal Pradesh. So now, without losing any time, I would just request Professor Rishikesh Krishnan Ji, Director, Indian Institute of Science, Indian Institute of Management, Bangalore, to put forward his views. Professor Krishnan, please.
Yeah, namaste, good evening. Honorable Minister and other delegates, I think it's very clear to all of us that problems rarely get posed in a disciplinary context. Most problems that we know transcend disciplinary boundaries, and that's all the more reason why we need to have a multidisciplinary approach in our education system. In fact, a friend of mine was telling me the other day, even if you take a simple question like why is the rainbow seen in 7 colors, if you really want to come up with a complete answer to that question, you will have to refer to at least 4 or 5 different disciplines. I mean, at the first sight, we think maybe it's only physics, but you have to understand how the eye works. You have to understand a lot of other things if you just want to answer that simple question. Management appears to be inherently a multidisciplinary subject. And in fact, when I studied management 30 years ago, the assumption was that you could take a problem-solving approach, you could use a few analytical methods, and you should be able to solve that problem. But what we have seen over time is that even management problems, which used to require maybe the different disciplines of management, today require disciplines which go well beyond just the finance and marketing and human resource management, which goes into the management curriculum. The Honorable Prime Minister gave the example of climate change. I think climate change is an excellent example. If you look at the companies today which are trying to come up with their strategies in a context where climate change is a big challenge, they tend to pose it under the rubric of something called ESG. But if you look at ESG, it has economic, behavioral, national interest, intergenerational, ethical, and other dimensions. So sensitivity to all these perspectives is essential to make better decisions besides just being better citizens. So I think clearly the importance of multidisciplinary education is quite obvious. At IIM Indore, where I was the director earlier, in 2011, we started a 5-year integrated program in management, where the idea was to have a 3-year foundation in different disciplines. And the good news I wanted to share with you is that we already have proof that a multidisciplinary approach works well, because we have found that graduates from that program are already being recognized by the industry as having a completely different approach in the way they approach different managerial problems. However, I would like to focus on a few issues which need to be addressed if we want to have a genuine multidisciplinary curriculum. I think the first issue is that if you want genuinely multidisciplinary curriculum, you also need multidisciplinary teaching and multidisciplinary course structures. Just having a set of courses in different disciplines which are loosely strung together is not a multidisciplinary curriculum. You also need faculty members who are willing to go across disciplinary boundaries. Traditionally, all of us are trained in disciplines, so that's not very easy for us to do. So we have to be willing to talk to people in other disciplines and develop that genuine multidisciplinary curriculum. And I think this is going to be the big challenge for us. I'm just reminded that many years ago, when I went to teach once in my old school, when on leave from, in one of the vacations from IIT, one of the students asked me a question. He asked me, is the atom in physics the same as the atom in chemistry? So this to me kind of brought home very graphically the fact that somehow in our curriculum, we don't seem to be understanding how to integrate all the different subjects together. I would just like to conclude by sharing a couple of new initiatives we are taking at IIM Bangalore. I was just going to share with you 2 important initiatives we have taken at IIM Bangalore in the area of multidisciplinary education. One which we are very excited about is to offer a new online undergraduate program in digital entrepreneurship. I think one of the aspirations of many of our youth is they would like to set up their own digital enterprises. So this we are looking at as transcending 3 different areas. We are looking at a digital technology, we are looking at management, and we are looking at entrepreneurship. And we believe that these 3 need to be integrated with each other to offer a lot of the youth across the country the opportunity to set up their own digital enterprises. So this will be, if you look at it, this will be multidisciplinary at 2 levels. One will be the course itself has 3 main pillars: entrepreneurship, management, and digital technology. And of course, each of these pillars will have their own disciplinary background. The other thing we are doing is we are launching a 4-year undergraduate program, which will be perhaps the first in an IIM which is not a management program. The plan is to start offering 4-year undergraduate programs in 4 disciplines, which are related to management: economics, behavioral science, data science, and sustainability. But all these 4 will have a common core, which will be very integrative in nature, and we hope to address just the problems I told you about earlier, that we will have foundation subjects which are cutting across disciplines and which are taught by faculty who will also cut across disciplines so that they convey that disciplinary perspective. Thank you.
So, thank you, Professor Krishnan. Now, I would request Professor Raj Singh Ji, Vice-Chancellor, Jain University, Bangalore, to put his views. Professor Raj Singh Ji.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, distinguished co-panelists, Honorable Minister, Honorable Youth Chairman, dear colleagues. I represent Jain deemed to be university from Bangalore, A++ Category 1 university with 26 departments and 138 programs. By this I mean that we are already multidisciplinary university, and we operate out of 7 campuses. That adds to some logistical issues, but also provides this opportunity of being truly multidisciplinary. Even though I have been barred from saying any theory, I'll take permission just to clarify 2 things. One, NEP 2020 clearly says that the aim of a quality university need to be developing good well-rounded and creative individuals capable of personal accomplishments and enlightenment, constructive public engagement, and productive contribution to society. It clearly outlines the agenda when you talk about multidisciplinary and holistic education. And the second thing I want to clarify is that multidisciplinarity is an idea of a number of disciplines working together, leading to additive and not integrative kind of effect. Holistic education is a comprehensive approach to teaching that addresses the emotional, social, ethical, and academic needs of students in an integrated fashion. Now, quickly summarizing, as we move from multidisciplinarity to interdisciplinarity and interdisciplinarity to transdisciplinarity, the words which best represent are additive, which is multidisciplinary, multiple disciplines you can take. Interdisciplinarity, when disciplines start interacting and informing each other, they come closer, they find the techniques and concepts of each other relevant into each other, and that is indicated by integrative. And we move to transdisciplinarity, where these interacting disciplines are used to solve real-life problems. And this truly represents holistics, as far as the term is concerned. I present before you a case study of Jain deemed to be university, where we decided in 2020, something we named as Jain 2.0, of course, but it was taking education at the intersection of research and practice. This became the mantra. And in doing so, we also kept in mind that we want to be a compliance plus university. All the norms and standards we decided to keep as a floor and not the ceiling, which we keep trying to reach. Ceiling we will decide. We wanted to move to liberal education, where students have almost unlimited choices. And something unique, we started as a marketplace experience lab, which gives opportunity to each student to become entrepreneurial. And under earn value learn scheme, we wanted to see that every student is able to earn their fees. And yes, we move towards zero cost education. And in doing so, naturally you need how to do it. Because you have spoken enough what is required to be done, I'll focus on how part of it, and I have only 4 minutes left now. Number one thing, which of course everybody must have done, is offer open electives. We have offered about 120 courses under open elective scheme, including Indian Knowledge System and Universal Human Values, approved by the All India Council for Technical Education. And if students study 4 courses, earn certain number of credit units, they will be able to earn a minor specialization in unrelated area. And the rule is that you can take open electives from any other stream which does not belong to your discipline. For example, management students can't take it from management. So we started transdisciplinary project-centric learning, wherein it's different from project-based learning. Project becomes centric, where students from different disciplines come together and work on a common issue, and therefore it's truly transdisciplinary. It has 3 components. One, every student does actual business, where he has the possibility of earning his fees. 2, he is able to go through a research internship, which has been, of course, advocated and recommended by the University Grants Commission, that every year they should have its internship. And for the university, the outcome will be either a patentable idea, 2, a publication, and 3rd, a startup. These 3 outcomes, and what they do in 3 years, is a rubric-based assessment, and we believe that every student, if they don't own enterprise, they'll become enterprising and will have entrepreneurship, and therefore this has been motivated by not only NEP 2020, it has been motivated by the fortunate bottom of pyramid by C.K. Prahlad, National Agricultural University 2011, it has been motivated by the Deshpande Foundation sandbox of Karnataka, and many other concepts which have been integrated within this concept, and we've tested for 2 years, and results have been absolutely fascinating. This year we've gone whole hog, and every student of the university, which is 20,000 plus, will be working on groups of 5 each on these transdisciplinary topics. Rest I'll take if there's any opportunity of any question and answer. Thank you so much.
So, thank you, Professor Raj Singh ji, for excellently presenting the case study of your university. Now I will request Professor Nitin Karmalkar ji, former Vice-Chancellor, Savitribai Phule University, Pune.
Thank you, respected Dayas, Honorable Minister, and respected audience. It's indeed a privilege to be with you, talking on this very important topic. In fact, Savitribai Phule Pune University is a state university affiliating system with 1,000 odd colleges, 7.5 lakh students getting graduated, getting enrolled for, and basically implementing the multidisciplinarity. We began with the campus. On campus, we have 52 odd departments. So first and foremost thing that generally is required that each individual faculty or each individual department must start talking to each other. That was not happening. So following basically the central university, the school system first of all got adopted. Then projects like making a policy for a particular district, so which is very inclusive, wherein basically all different aspects are looked at. So wherein basically science people, arts people, performing arts, they came together and they started working on basically creating a policy document for a small district place which was chosen from the coastal region. Apart from that, you have to have a social connect, because unless and until you don't understand what are the problems existing in the society, those problems should become your research problem. And therefore, there has to be a close connect with the society. So bringing some important sort of a unit on the campus, providing co-location to the industry. In fact, if you intend to give experiential learning kind of a approach, so obviously every time you cannot keep on sending students to the industry. Instead, the R&D units can be given a co-location on the campus. Especially Pune is an auto cluster wherein the industry 4.0 approach is adopted. So we created a center for basically industry 4.0, which to an extent actually is given by the Ministry of Heavy Industries, given to basically a local industry, that's Kirloskar. And they were looking for a co-location. I said, you come on the campus, my expectations are I'm providing you a free space, but expectation is that my student would work as interns over there. And that is how basically in the recent time, 50 odd industries basically been converted into smart industries through this kind of an interaction where the student to a great extent actually handle most of the problems as such. So that is another thing. Then creating more of a liberal education, that is the approach that we always been talking about, the Gurukul system that we had. So following that particular system, the liberal education, wherein a student in the first year gets a glimpse of everything, whether it is science, whether it is art, whether it is performing arts, whether it is vocational, whether it is technical, all sorts of things. And then he is given a chance basically to choose his own discipline wherein he intends to work. And then to make it very holistic basically, I created a platform that is called Degree Plus. And Degree Plus actually provides, because state universities always have the problem, there's a shortage of faculty. So to overcome that, basically the best of sort of e-contents being provided in the form of certificates in a program called Degree Plus, and that has been made available to all the 7.5 lakh students, wherein some programs are own created, some programs been borrowed from the other people, like the MOOCs, plenty of MOOCs been put in over there. And then apart from that, the Harvard Business School, the Simply Learn, the Amazon, those people also come very handy, the Coursera, edX, and their short courses basically been put in as mostly as. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Professor Karmalkar. Now we have, for the intervention, we have Professor S.P. Bansal, Honorable Vice-Chancellor, Central University of Himachal Pradesh. So, Professor Bansal, please.
Honorable Education Minister, Honorable Chairman, Chairperson of the session, respected Vice-Chancellors, ladies and gentlemen. Actually, when a few days back we were listening to our Honorable Prime Minister, Prime Minister has rightly said that education, take education as a fun, not as a fear, because always the students used to take examination as a fear. शिक्षा का विस्तार हुआ है, लेकिन विकास नहीं हुआ. शिक्षा का सही मायने में विकास हो, इसीलिए ये राष्ट्रीय शिक्षा नीति हमारे समक्ष है। The basic purpose of education is to prepare the complete human being, and it is well said that man can neither be intellect nor gross animal nor the heart and soul alone. A proper and harmonious combination of all the three required to making a whole man and constitute a true economics of education. Hence, the major aim of education is creating the overall personality of the student, and that's the reason that firstly, my presentation will be in two parts in this less time, in 5 minutes. One is that why, and second is how to implement, because our Central University of Himachal Pradesh has taken a lead role in implementing the National Education Policy right from the academic session 21-22. But we have faced a lot of problems also, because it is not very easy to implement this multidisciplinary and holistic education. Because what is holistic education in real sense? Holistic education is a concept that is based on the philosophy of educating and developing a person as a whole that goes beyond academics. It means the practice of rote learning has to be there for a long time, and we have to replace that practice with the real sense of learning outcome-based teaching that is really required. बच्चों में इनोवेशन नहीं होगा, रिस्क टेकिंग नहीं होगा, रिस्क टेकिंग नहीं होगा, क्षमता नहीं होगी, क्षमता नहीं होगी, पर्पज ऑफ एजुकेशन नहीं होगा, पर्पज ऑफ एजुकेशन नहीं होगा, फिलोसफी ऑफ एजुकेशन नहीं होगी। तो इसका मतलब क्लास में रिवोल्यूशन नहीं आएगा, क्लास में रिवोल्यूशन नहीं आएगा तो समाज नहीं बदलेगा। So it means with the help of, by introducing this holistic kind of approach and multidisciplinary, we have to change the mindset of the student. The inspiration behind the introduction of holistic and multidisciplinary education is to come back to the realization of our ancient India's rich heritage, where the goal of education was not just the acquisition of knowledge for preparing for life or life after formal education, but for the complete realization of self. अपने आप को पहचानना, and there is a long history of holistic and multidisciplinary kind of learning in India, and we have to come back on that system. And with the introduction of multidisciplinary education, it is expected that the mastery of curricula that is required across all the fields will boost definitely the awareness which is required, and engagement and sheer joy of learning that is must, and engaging the imagination of students is really a difficult task for the teacher, and for that matter, by introducing this, teacher has to prepare for themselves also. स्वयं की पहचान, मैं से हम से परिवार, परिवार से समाज, समाज से राष्ट्र, राष्ट्र से सृष्टि, सृष्टि से परमेष्टि. That is the main essence of introducing this holistic kind of education. And I am very much hopeful that multidisciplinary and holistic learning, which will be an integral component of education, will relax the discipline boundaries and make the system adoptable. I have got, my time is over, but my main contention is that of course we have implemented in UG choice-based credit system, but PG it will be fine, but at UG level it is really difficult that if we are preparing the 12 courses, how to go for 8 credit and 4 credit for holistic. It is somewhere in difficult and over credits. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Professor Bansal. Now, all our panelists have very elaborately and precisely also, they have discussed about the need of holistic and multidisciplinary education. So now we are open for discussion. And for that purpose, okay, Chairman, sir, please.
Please write on a small piece of paper, we will collect the questions.
So paper.
We will give you, if anybody wants to write questions, please pass it on. We made this announcement in the beginning itself to write your questions.
Okay, this is very a pertinent question by, I think, Professor Krishnan has asked from the audience, that the multidisciplinary approach, how one can justify the credits. I think I would like to answer, or your question is specific to some of our panelists. Okay. in the multidisciplinary approach, the earlier also under the choice-based credit system, we are having major electives and minor electives. So credits has been assigned for each course. And recently, National Higher Education Qualification Framework already is in place, and it has absolute parity for traditional universities as well as for professional universities like engineering as well. On the 8-point scale, it is complete parity is there. So if you are teaching, for example, one major elective course of 4 credit, and the person is taking multidisciplinary course from some other discipline, maybe 3 credit or 4 credit, whatever may be, so that credit is being added. And already regulations are there for academic bank of credit and multiple exit and entry. Already the regulation is also there. So there is absolutely no problem with that what is related to the credit. Whatever credit the student is going to earn, that credit will be reflected in his final credit. So there is absolutely no problem because already, as I mentioned, National Higher Education Qualification Framework already in place. Okay, so many questions. Okay, no problem. This one question is, open book system should be encouraged at higher education institutions to help students solve real life problems. I think I will distribute the questions amongst our panelists. The question is that open book system should be encouraged at higher education institutions to help students solve real life problems. We feel that open book system is not only one suggestion, but there are various suggestions to think of real life problems. And the concept of holistic education, as Professor Bansal nicely pointed out, that is self-introspection and complete development of the personality. Because the Indian vision of education relies on Sharir, Man, Buddhi or Atma ka vikas. Development of body, mind, intellect and soul, that is integrated development. So various courses like some of our panelists pointed out, like Indian knowledge systems, glory of Indian culture, environment, climate change. Dr. Kasturi Rangan also pointed out, and it has already been mentioned in National Education Policy that these aspects should be included as a part of the curriculum, so that the students get multidisciplinary and cross-disciplinary thinking approach. So that is very important. Of course, the open book system is one, but various other aspects are there. So that one question, that 4 credit multidisciplinary, it needs proper regulation. Already I mentioned that academic bank of credit, all the regulations have been prepared by the UGC, it is already in place, multiple entry and exit after long work. So this question is answered, I think. Another question is, multi-discipline orientation happens at 2 levels, program and course. How to contextualize? Good question. For example, program, let us say MSc in chemistry. So there is definitely program outcome and course outcome, means outcome of different papers. Papers, they constitute course and one program. So we have to, just like we have mission, vision and objectives. So likewise, for each course, we are having, for example, 4 courses in one semester, each having 4 credit. So for each course, we can prepare learning outcome-based curriculum framework. And for model curriculum for learning outcome curriculum framework, already on the UGC website, we can download also. Various courses are there. Huh? Yeah, please.
Yeah, so one point I want to just add to this. I think if you want to have a multidisciplinary curriculum, you also need to relook at what constitutes the disciplinary knowledge which is required. Most of the time we take the multidisciplinary as an add-on, and then we say the disciplinary framework will remain exactly the same. Then you're just going to have too many credits. I think you have to start a zero-based approach. You have to start asking for your each discipline, what is the core that you require today? Given that students also have access to a lot of online material and other sources, and a lot of information is just freely available, what is the core that the students require in each discipline?
Now the next one is that some courses, can they supplement requirement of multidisciplinary? I think Prof. Bansal also can also answer this question. That some courses.
Professor Nadda is here because he did a lot of work on this. SWAYAM is actually nowadays useful for UG courses. Now, as per University Grants Commission regulation, 40%, up to 40%, they have allowed that the student can earn credit through SWAYAM, and SWAYAM is very important for the implementation of this policy. And as well as in PG, it is better to create self-contents. That is very important for the successful implementation of SWAYAM.
Thank you. Now another question is that how to prepare syllabus for holistic education. Very nice question. Since the implementation of NEP, I think most of us might be remembering 1 year earlier, or 9th of July 2021, a letter was written from the UGC to all universities to go for holistic and multidisciplinary education. And many universities have come up with the syllabus for holistic education. For example, at my Central University of Gujarat, we are imparting 2 credit course, capsule course, to students from undergraduate courses as well as PG courses in each semester. 2 credit course in each semester. So we have started for last 1 year. 1 semester already students have passed out. So likewise, so we can prepare, because as per NEP, the student has to be completely developed, personality should be completely developed, but engrossed in Indian culture and traditions. So Indian culture, glory of Indian culture, values, the human values, and many other things like environmental education, like climate change, other. So we can think of and we can design courses like that. So we can implement, and already academic bank of credit already is there. So whatever credit the student earns, it is earned by the student, so there is no problem about that. The next question is, would IIM Bangalore lose its core competency if it enters into education, which is already, there are many problems? Yeah, please. You can.
No, I think the question is, will we lose our core competency if we enter an arena which is already a problem of plenty? I don't agree with that. I think if you just look at the number of students who are going outside India to do undergraduate degrees, and particularly in a variety of disciplines, there's a shortage of high-quality education, not the other way around. We think we have a good competence in running high-quality education programs, and if you remember the comment I made, we are entering areas in which we already have competence: economics, data science, sustainability, and the fourth one was behavioral science. These are areas which are very closely aligned to management, and we have expertise in those areas. So I don't agree with that at all.
Yeah, this another question is also related to IIM only. So in IIM, it is more important to include international relations and public policy, whether it should be.
Yeah, I think we already have it in a small form. For example, we have a course on business, government, and society that already has an international relations module. And we have several electives on public policy besides some public policy module in the business, government, and society course. We're already addressing it, and I think that's a good point. We probably need to strengthen that even further. That's what our alumni are telling us.
Yeah. Please, Professor Singh.
The question is, 120 open electives are there. For which courses these electives are offered? I think it means which programs it is offered. As I said, with 26 departments, we asked every department to give a basket of courses, 7 to 8 courses, which can be offered to students of department other than the department offers it. For example, engineering students could take a minor elective in design thinking, in humanities, in dance and music, maybe in science, management, commerce, and vice versa. We faced a lot of difficulty that how these courses will be scheduled. And we found a very simple method that on a particular day, particular slot, let's say Wednesday, 2 to 3 o'clock or 2 to 4 o'clock, entire university will have classes for open electives. And the faculty member will go to a particular class, and all the students who have chosen that particular course will attend those classes. So it's subject-based, it's course-based class, rather than the section being assigned a classroom. Similar thing happens with the project Centric learning. We kept a slot for discussion. In any case, students form a group coming from different disciplines. No, out of 5 students, no 2 students will be from the same department. I think the whole debate is that, now first answering the questions of your permission, it's not the only open book examinations will solve the problem. Once you use innovative pedagogical teaching learning methods, you will need innovative methods of assessment. I think the need is to bring in variety of assessment methods. From examination, which is normally written examination, we have to move towards more assessment orientation. Pardon me my saying, I think we need to look at the report card from the C class where along with the grades, they also give what student can do and what he cannot do. What student knows, what does not know. I think we need to write through rubrics what the student is capable of knowing and doing. Number 3, just last point, sir. Multidisciplinarity or interdisciplinarity is just not going to happen if we ask students to take courses from different disciplines, including my university. Unless you make students of different disciplines work together on common problems. And these problems could be of industry, could be society, could be community. Interdisciplinarity will not happen. I think we need to structure projects which are real life and make students of different disciplines work together. We have appointed 2 guides at least for each group of 5 students. So that, at least some expertise comes in, and if it's required to go beyond that, they can invite anybody, because group is only 5 students, and the entire assessment is rubric-based. I wish I could show you, elaborate work has been done where some fascinating results are there. For example, a number of patents increased from 16 to 200 plus within 1 year. My submission to all my colleagues would be that today the country has put a lot of demand on the innovation system, and universities are an important part of the innovation system. Unless universities contribute towards that, as a country we can't achieve much. And in that, only faculty can't do it, we have to involve students in that. Because students, when they work with the faculty, will be able to contribute.
Okay, sir, thank you. So we had a very live discussion and excellent talk by our panelists. Now we would like to conclude that first, some of the questions were that what is the definition of holistic education, how is it go forward. So now it is very clear that all higher education institutions have to implement the holistic teaching as well as multidisciplinary teaching. And for that purpose, for holistic education, for development of the overall personality, we have to come out with the syllabus, and many universities, many higher education institutions are doing that. Already teaching, holistic development teaching is going on. And various multidisciplinary courses are also being floated by various institutions. For example, in our university, as I pointed out, we have floated 21 multidisciplinary courses, and these courses are being taken up by the students from other disciplines, so that they develop multidisciplinarity. So that is very, very important. So we can prepare syllabus as per the mandate of NEP 2020, and depending on the competency of the teachers also. And there was some confusion related to the credit system, the structures, its transfer. So we should not worry about that, because already academic bank of credit system, already regulations are there. So there is absolutely no problem about that. For multidisciplinary courses, one can take either as a minor elective, 3 credit, 2 credit, or 4 credit like that. So whatever credit will be there, that credit will be reflected. And just to go forward, I would like to point it out that many initiatives have been taken by UGC as well as AICTE for working with the credit system and to have parity. And when we talk about the holistic education, it is very clear that the Indian vision of education has always relied on holistic education, always we talk about the world-class institutions that are all based on holistic education. So just to conclude, I would like to tell that this is the only national education policy कि इस शिक्षा नीति के सहारे होलिस्टिक एंड मल्टीडिसिप्लिनरी एजुकेशन वाले हम छात्रों को तैयार कर सकते हैं, जो कि भारतीय संस्कृति में ओतप्रोत हो, लेकिन जिनकी दृष्टि वैश्विक हो, rooted in Indian culture, but will global citizen who can take up the challenges of the 21st century. With these few words, I just stop myself. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Professor Dubey and my colleagues for conducting the first technical session in such a wonderful way. They have discussed the importance of multidisciplinarity in our education and how it can be implemented. They have also taken several questions from the audience. Colleagues, you know that a conference of this nature can be conducted effectively only if we follow the time discipline. I hope that my colleagues have not minded me sending cheats in between. Thank you very much for the wonderful discussions that have taken place. Colleagues, I would like to reiterate again that our Higher Education Minister, Dharmendra ji, our ministers of State of Education, and the Governor, Honorable Governor, all of them will be with us tomorrow and day after tomorrow. Therefore, we request you to be with us in this conference on both the days. If you have your tickets day after tomorrow, please reschedule it so that this conference becomes successful with your active participation. We have also decided that at the end of the panelist discussion, if there are any questions, you please write it on a piece of paper and we will collect and pass it on to the chairperson. Tomorrow, our session will start at 9:30. We request you to be in the hall by 9:15. Thank you very much until we meet again tomorrow.